Hello and welcome to Apex Racing TV and the DynamiXX Simracersworld GT Series here at Laguna, Seca for round 2 of the Championship. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me is Marco Barbner. And Marco, we saw a fantastic round 1, plenty of controversy, especially in the closing stages. And we also saw super competitive fights for each of the class victories. Hopefully we're going to see the same today around this classic United States track.
Yes, hello everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight. It's a fantastic racetrack that we don't visit too often in iRacing, especially in the series that we have. And I think that the fireworks are in store. We have at this moment 43 drivers signed up for this race, divided into 3 categories. If you have never watched this series, tonight is a great starting point. I think, Sam, this number of cars with these drivers in a very, very small and tricky racetrack, I think it is going to be a race that we will remember for a long time. And this championship has really, over the years now, proved that they absolutely know what they are doing. And I'm expecting a very interesting race, and let's see how they will tackle, with this big number of cars, how they are going to tackle the somewhat, very narrow racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a properly unique track. You can see the banking around a few of these corners. Personally, not one of my favorites. I think I did a few too many laps around here in Gran Turismo 5, which have potentially bored me of this circuit. But certainly, in terms of the racing that you get around here, relatively similar to Donington in that there's not really one great overtaking spot necessarily across turn 1 very possible, but at the same time quite easy to defend there as well. So should be very good fun today. And of course, all these cars, Marco, fantastic about this series. We have a kind of a flexible BOP, which means that all the cars are pretty much even. So you don't expect any of the cars to be especially fast today. But of course, the cars do still have different characteristics. Do you imagine maybe the BMW that we're seeing, of course, Ruben van Buren just a moment ago, and also Stephen de Wolf as well? Do you believe that BMW is going to be particularly strong around the kind of corners here at Laguna Seca?
Well, judging by the practice times, which are on the screen right now, as you can see, maybe we can show them, in just a second, if I can manage to find the right button, which is here we go. You can see that the 2 BMWs of the Van Buell brothers are, showing some good pace, and the BMWs were probably, together with the Mercedes, the car to beat last season. While today we are seeing, this year at least, Audi are really, taking the lion's share of the of the field, especially in the first round. But as you can see, the two Racecraft Esports Gold drivers, Martin van Loosenhoorn and Marvin Amans, are in first and second. I think that the BMW, especially in this track, can have more than a chance of having a good result. I mean, the Van Buell brothers know this car like the back of their hands, and I mean, like I said, we've seen the Audi do well in the first round. Who knows if this is going to be, the way to go for the rest of the season, with the BOP changing, and of course now then going to different tracks. I think next week we have Spa, so it's going to be a completely different racetrack than the ones we had, Donington and this one, two very narrow, short, and tracks with, not many passing opportunities, so not many long straights also. So we'll see. I mean, as you can see on the left side, there's a good variety, of course. Like I said, Audi, lots of them, many Mercedes, 3 in the top 23 BMWs, and a couple of Ferraris also in there. But of course, it's free practice, so who knows what these guys are, holding, in their back pocket for qualifying, which is going to be another thing that we have to talk about, Sam, because qualifying with 10 minutes, with 44 cars on the racetrack, it's going to be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not the longest circuit in the world, of course. It could turn into a bit of a Monaco situation where you got cars maybe backing up. Certainly, the first couple of minutes in the qualifying session is usually absolutely awesome to see this string of 30 or so cars, of course, not in pace order. It's all about getting your positioning just right. In spite could be even more problematic because they've reduced the qualifying time this season down to just 10 minutes from 15 means that you really got to get in that lap very quickly. And anyone who's done the official series round Spa, well, no, you got to get out of the pits within about 20 seconds in these GT cars just to get 2 laps in. That's an 8-minute session or 7-minute session, not quite sure. And of course, 10 minutes in this. So that's going to be very close. But today, not going to be easy whatsoever either. And certainly what Marco was saying earlier on, maybe a little bit of a mix-up with the Van Buell brothers doing extremely well at the moment. Lewis Ward had a strong first round, I believe his first round in this championship, full stop, in fact, and he managed to come away with a 4th position, I believe. And, well, he's certainly going to be one to watch out there today. Of course, last season, Marco, we saw absolute domination from DynamiXX, and he won all but one of the rounds. That one round, he crashed at Bathurst, I believe. Unfortunately, I wasn't commentating on that one, but he was absolutely dominant, always had superb race pace. But fortunately for us, we've had familiar driver Martin van Loozenord around in round 1 and also round 2. Do you believe he's going to continue to be able to pose a threat? And do you think this is going to be a really nice duel to the championship win?
You know, it's very tough with EF to judge his pace from practice and qualifying because he really shines in the race. Of course, as you can see, Van Loozenord is stopping the timing charts so far in practice. As I'm trying to get one lap on board with one of the drivers to show the track around, which it's a free track on iRacing, so I know that many of the viewers know it a lot. Just like you said, maybe we turn too many laps around here. But back to the matter at hand. I think that it's going to be important for EF to get better in qualifying because if Martin van Loozenor starts getting pole positions after pole position and then he has basically the possibility of running away from the lead straight away, while maybe even if he starts like 4th or 5th, he still has to make a couple of overtakes, and that could be the difference. If you are on similar pace, it's going to be tough to get those 2, 3, 4 seconds back after you know if the two drivers are on equal pace. So let's see how will the two we have, of course, it's the second round of the season, so there are still many contenders for the championship, but let's see if the two uh, favorites for the title how will they fare in qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. We are about 5 minutes away from qualifying. Practice will conclude. Then we'll have 10 minutes of qualifying. Then, of course, an hour-long race. We saw a slight change in the in the strategy last time, Marco. And one of the aspects I'm quite interested about saying is that last time we saw drivers in the midfield pitting relatively early on at the 25, 30 minute mark and coming in for that refueling, but then it left them kind of vulnerable from the just lapping of the front runners. And I'm hoping today a few of those drivers will kind of learn from that arguable mistake and maybe leave it a little bit longer. Of course, we want to see a variety of strategies, but yeah, it's those rules changes for the change in the maximum amount of fuel, the reduction in the tank of these cars certainly has changed up the order a little bit.
It has, and it's a change that I really liked. Like I said, this championship, the guys behind it know what they are doing, and I think that all the changes they are making them with an open mind about if they are good or bad, but I won't take rash decisions. And this one was a long time in the making. The changes they had for this season, as we have, I'm happy to say once again, Marcel van der Linden
Hey.
in the Ford GT3. Of course, last season the strategies were a bit predictable, either you pitted super early or super late. There was no in between usually, no. Um, with this change, we saw some, little bit more, the strategies were a bit different. But I'm still waiting for a couple of more races to have an idea if this change will be, a change, that is going to be a big change or just, a small change. What really, I know that the guys are working hard to get right is the dynamic BOP, because it's always a matter of big controversy both in real life and in in racing simulators. BOP is always a hot topic, and it's to have it dynamic during the season can raise some eyebrows, but once again, I have complete faith. I think they know what they're doing, and so far, we had these gentlemen here with the Ford fighting for a top 10 last week, which I think most of it has to do with how good Marcel van der Linden is, teammate of Jeff Van Genechten, but also the Ford, even the Ford has a fighting chance in this championship.
Yeah, absolutely, which is great to see. Of course, the GT2 car, which was converted to a GT3 by iRacing. And, well, it's always been lacking a little bit in the BOP, but great to see it out there today. Of course, 6 cars. Apparently, the maximum amount of cars are going to extend to 7 next season, I believe. Oh, sorry, it's already at 7.
Yes, already at
Apologies.
7.
I haven't been racing on iRacing a whole lot recently, exams and that. So I'm not 100% up to date with everything that's going on. But of course, many of you would have seen the new damage model video posted by iRacing. If you haven't seen it, watch all of this broadcast first, of course, don't go away. But then after this broadcast, go and watch it. It looks very exciting. They look like they've done a good job. Unfortunately, they've changed the GT1, the GT1s. I think that's right.
Yeah, the Corvette and the Aston Martin.
First.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've changed them first, despite them being two of the least used cars. But of course, Marco, you'll be pleased because, of course, you spend your entire time crashing, so it's going to
Yeah.
look that much more realistic. You're driving now with the change that they made to the Skip Barber.
I was about to say that it's going to make both, my racing much more interesting, and I'm expecting some big fireworks, especially on the oval side where I have my fair share of crashes. But also, I love doing this job here. It will be even better. Of course, I never wish for drivers to crash, but as practice is over, it's going to be nice to see, some of the big pileups we sometimes inevitably have. They are going to be even more spectacular. So, and I mean, I can tell you that I'm already channeling my inner South American commentator for when we have a massive crash with debris all over the place. So, I think they still don't write soon after the videos, so I think it's still a long way away. But maybe in a year's time, who knows? We might have it. As qualifying is underway, and you can see there is. Let's go to the blimp and to the track map also, so we can see the track map isn't working. So apologies for that, but you can imagine, that there's a. You see, look at this. There's quite the queue. Looks like my city in in rush hour when everybody wants to go home.
Absolutely. Of course, anyone who saw the World GT Championship will have seen how they've kind of already implemented some of the new damage model stuff. You can have rear wings now flying off in those GTE cars. So we'll maybe have to test that out on the GT3s today. So it is being rolled out slowly, and maybe expect the GT1s to have those changes made maybe for next season. Certainly looking forward to it. But back to today. They've got a 10-minute qualifying session to go. In Donington, everyone kind of got in a lap. I was half surprised about that one. Again, quite a short lap here at Laguna Seca. And it's Marvin Julien Amont, who was second in practice. Can he maybe contend for that front row of the grid in qualifying, taking that unusual line at turn 1. So many different lines you can take, but then of course 2 and 3 are much more basic, very much just threading the needle, trying to lean on those front left tyre, and then accelerating out up to this next banked left-hander. And Amont's got a little bit of a clear end, and this is a good opportunity, Marco, for him to get a banker in. This is kind of the perfect position to be at this point in qualifying.
Yeah, you have to think you're not going to have many opportunities to have a clean lap, so put a banker in and then try to work on that, but you absolutely don't want to risk to not set a time. And that is going to be, I think, more of an issue in Spa with the very, very strict off tracks there. Here, like you said, it's a short lap, but still you want to get in a good one, and having clean track like having a little bit of tow like Marvin is having right now, and I think he will put the car in first position, no issues. And will he? Yes, he will. So he's in provisional pole with the Van Buell brothers behind him. Let's follow some other drivers. We should have somewhere on the racetrack Martin van Loozenhoorn, and here he is.
Yep, halfway round the lap. The practice times were considerably faster than the lap times that they've so far set. That's due to the track temperature rising. It's up to 31 degrees Celsius, 9:30 in the morning, so expect it to get even warmer as the race goes on. I'm sure it's not going to stop Martin van Loozenhoorn. This could be on for a maybe a 1:19. So far, the best time, Banging Necton, 20.18. Van Loozenhoorn crosses the line, and it is a 19.729. He comfortably takes provisional pole position, and he's making himself look very difficult to beat once again here at Laguna Seca.
Absolutely. Here we have David Whitballs, who is very active in the chat during race 1, and because he was not home, I think he was in Thailand, of all places. And now he's on the racetrack, and it's the first appearance for the Ponti Motorsports racing team, which I'm told is an Italian team, so glad to have them on board. And he is in the silver category, as Amans now goes into second place. And look at that very, very nice white, blue and purple, pink Ferrari.
Of course, we should warn everyone that Marco despises Italian teams.
Not true.
But no, I'm being harsh. You dislike the Italian media, don't you?
Exactly.
So, which kind of supports the teams and stuff, which is totally alien to me as a British person, because the media hates our sports people and our teams. We're always trying to pick holes in them. But yeah, the Italians very fond of their teams, such as Ferrari, of course. And yeah, so of course, no bias whatsoever in the commentary booth today. We just want to see a great race, and certainly looks as though that's going to be the case, because once again on a good lap. It's a personal best sector 1, a purple sector 2, a personal best sector 3, and he's rather ruined it now. He's gone off the circuit, picks up a 1x, and a monster's going to have to go again. He hasn't got much time though. 4.5 minutes to go.
It is a defending champion, Van Genekten, as he's trying to improve. As of this moment, we have a Racecraft Esports lockout of the front row with Van Loozenhoorn and Amans. We can have the gap. There we go, which is very useful during qualifying. And see if EF is on a quick lap. Yes, fastest sector 1 for him right now, so we know he's on a good lap. We also know that the qualifying overlay has crashed, so apologies.
Right, a few issues with the live timing today. I'm sure we'll address those very, very soon. But meanwhile, Van Genekten's still on a good lap. Sector 4 is about to come in, and it's another personal best. This could maybe rival for pole position. He's got 2 fastest sectors. The other 2 sectors are his personal best after a decent first lap. Here comes Van Genekten, the defending champion, second at Donington. Can he put it on pole position here at Laguna Seca? No, he can't.
He can't.
It was an invalidated lap.
Yes, it
because,
was.
well, he's picked up a 1x. Great lap. It would have been... I'm not sure what time it would have been, actually. But there you go. So disappointing there for Ivan. But, well, now he's going for a good lap. And, well, hopefully he'll be able to do as good as that previous lap, but without the 1x.
We'll keep an eye for him on the bottom of your screen. In the there are the various qualifying times as they happen.
David Fuller, currently the leader of the bronze drivers, 18th overall, only 2 silver drivers ahead of him. So Fuller driving extremely well. Not sure who won round 1. Was that Fuller who won at Donington? I think it was. So once again, backing that up very well for Team GB Esports, as Trees Moody comes to the line for the DynamiXX Series, being sponsored by Dynamics. Fantastic company based in Belgium, so that certainly do thoroughly recommend it. And still, Van Genekten up into 2nd position now. Not far off the best time, only 8/100ths off. But Van Genekten, that will be the end of his qualifying session, I believe, unless he's very quick about getting out of the pits.
I don't think he will, and look at that. I mean, 0.78 between the two leaders of the championship. There's nothing in it, basically. Let's see if Marvin Amans can improve. He goes nowhere at the moment. This will be his last chance.
He might actually just get one more. I think Van Genekten's going to be able to do one more lap. We've got 1 minute to go, and unlike the official series, of course, you can complete the lap that you start. Yeah, so Van Genekten is going to have one more opportunity. Track temperature is rising. It's up to 32 degrees. These guys are up on the ragged edge, so that will make a difference ever so slightly. Still, Amans trying to improve as well. Certainly seems to be a three. Basil Lewis-Ward doing a great job in 4th at the moment. Dion Phillips, of course, in 5th, and David Whitwell's the leader of the silver drivers. But we're absolutely fascinated by this top 3. See if there's any changes. Van Loozenord, has he extended his advantage? No. And that's going to be the end of his session. So it's all down to Ivan Genekten then, who is just starting his final lap right now.
Yes, and let's see if Amans improves himself. I don't think he will. Here he comes on the start-finish line, and it's 20.2, so nothing. And now, Van Genekten, let's jump on board with him.
Oh, is he just going to make it? We've got 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. He just about makes it to Van Genekten, and he will be able to complete this lap time. Now, hopefully he won't absolutely fail at this, because this is cinema stuff, it must be said. Absolute Hollywood across the line to start this final lap. He's got a little bit of clear air, and well, let's see if he can improve on his already very good time. He only needs to improve by about 8/100ths of a second. So it's a decent first couple of sectors, but no personal best. Going to have to really pull something out of the bag, maybe going down the corkscrew.
Yes, it doesn't look good for him right now in the timing. Let's see. And that's it for him. Even if it wasn't, I think he lost the car a bit, lost a lot of time. So he is not going to improve. We start in 2nd place then. Steven the Wolf, because the start-finish line, improves himself a bit, 1.5 seconds off the lead. We have Marvin Amans is still on a good lap, but it's not good enough, so he stays in 3rd. And we have also Ben Tains, he's coming across the start-finish line. He will start in 30th place. And I think, of course, we have to remind you that Steve Clays is not qualifying due to a penalty. And that will be that, I think, for this qualifying session, Sam, as we are just waiting for the session to switch over, and then we will be ready to go through the starting grid.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks to Steam King 2160 apparently there's been track changes in 1957, 63, 67, 85, and 95, apparently. And yeah, so pretty mad. The amount of changes. Considering that there's only one configuration around this circuit, but certainly do seem to have perfected it finally. And of course, yeah, Master Raceway Laguna Seca. I don't think it's even called Master Raceway Laguna Seca anymore. But here we go anyway. Do the quiz for this round 2 of the season. Martin van Loosenid is on pole position. He's alongside Ifang Necton. In third place is Marvin Amons. And then alongside him is Lewis Wardwood. The top of the silver drivers, Davey Witterbol starting in 6th place. Then Stein van Buell, Matthias de Tiege, Bob Boland, Gregory Vranks, Ewan Marshall, Sebastian Herbert, and then Ronald Means and Nick Schoen, second and third in the silver category. And then behind that is Ruben Van Buell, Tom Metherell, Marcel van der Linden, Andrew Hopley, and then it's Jeremy Hessels, David Fuller, Dries Mouldy, William Bush, Chris Miles, Stephen DeWolf, Ian Reitz, Lee Deemer, Chris Moretta, Benjamin Mears, Robbie Canda, and Ben Taines, rounding up the top 30. Behind that is Stuart Musselwhite, Sam Bentham, John McConville, Kevin Bolland, Theisberg, Scott Malcolm, James Hobden, Jochen Lennartz, Ben Llewellyn, Thomas McDonald, Tyler Vickery, our co-commentator, of course, Steve Castrop, Luke Thies, and then it's Peter Krause, Bart Delman, Daniel McCauley, Steve Clays, and Roy Ververke rounding out the field. And of course, the last few of them not saved in times due to penalties and maybe didn't get a clean lap in either. But just about to start the full formation lap that we have around this Laguna Seca circuit. And Marco, certainly looking forward to this one. Looks very competitive, certainly for all the class leads.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are in for the nice full pace lap this week, since it's one of the older tracks in iRacing, so we can enjoy it at just pretend we are like having a Sunday drive around here. As you can see down the Andretti hairpin, like you said earlier, I think it's the premier passing opportunity for these drivers. I think that but you need to have a good run coming out of the final corner. Maybe you can sacrifice some incident points by going a bit wider in the final corner, even though I'm quite sure that there has been some, a briefing before the race for the drivers, to not abuse of the track limits there. And of course, as you can see on the right side there of the track, there's a lot of dirty stuff outside of the racing line. So if you move out of there, you are going to experience a bit less grip as some birds fly right in front of our camera. Thank you very much. Of course, then in this middle part of the track, it's going to be impossible to get a move, especially in the corkscrew, unless your name is Alex Zanardi, which I don't think is sadly racing with us tonight. All jokes aside, let's take a minute, Sam, because today and yesterday were the anniversaries of the passing of Roland Ratzenberger and Ayrton Senna, and as a young not driver, a young boy, he was very very young at the time, but I still remember those days very vividly in my mind, and hopefully. In this very, very fateful day for all motorsports enthusiasts, we can keep their spirits alive in our hearts just a bit with a great race tonight, as the cars are about to start.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, many people on this grid would have been looking up to those two drivers undoubtedly. And hopefully we'll have a fantastic race on this day. So here we go. Martin van Loosenholt from the pole position. Ifang Gedekton alongside him. And we are away for round 2 of the Sim Racers World GT Championship. And it's a good start for Van Loosenhold already. All the drivers trying to pick up a slipstream. Are we going to see any moves going down into turn 1? Van Loosenhold with his car in the middle of the circuit. There could be contact 3 wide going into turn 1. But just about sorts one another out. Phillips gets ahead of Ward. No change for Witterbolt. And as going side by side once again, Phillips and Ward really tight between those two drivers. And seemingly not too many issues, at least from what I can see. And still going side by side. This is the battle for 4th and 5th positions. Witterbold's trying to profit from this as well, going a little bit wide there as Ward trying to come back at his rival. He might lose another position down the inside into the kink, and that's a nice move, certainly, by Davey Witterbold. And Ward, with an awful first lap, he's going to lose 3 positions, and we're only half a lap into the race.
A fantastic start by all the drivers. Now this is going to be tricky. You know, they avoided a mess, which is always you know, a huge possibility around here. Now the corkscrew, as you can see, they're all taking it somewhat safe, which is very, very nice. Lee Dimmer, of course, started from the pits. And I think the first lap is about to end with no major issues.
Yeah, very good to see. Of course, at Torrington we had a few issues from start to finish of the race. Hopefully you won't see the same thing today. Martin Van Loosenhold still leading the way, but ApexRacingTV is right on his tail. ApexRacingTV usually gets extra bits of speed when it comes to the racing comparison to qualifying. Hopefully we'll be able to see that today. Of course, both got to be watching those incident limits. 25 incidents will get you disqualified, but also you want to keep as clean a race as possible. Otherwise, you will get penalty points. But right now, I'm sure ApexRacingTV will be concentrating on nothing more than the race lead. This is what happened to Stephen Kastrop then, which has caused him to slip down the order in his Audi machine. And Maka, you're going to have to talk through this one.
Yeah, he lost control in the after the corkscrew on the left-hander, rainy curve if I'm not mistaken, and went head first into the wall. So not a good start for Steve. Whilst his teammate is leading the race, he is in last place. Oh, who's that?
So hopefully it will be.
Oh, Matthias De Tige in that same corner.
Well, how much damage has he picked up? He's still off the circuit, losing lots of positions, but he'll just be hoping that he can continue in this race. The Teach staying on the race circuit, it seems, but letting everyone go past. Wise decision.
Exact same crash that we just saw for the Kastrop for Kastrop, and then seems like his car is got some damage, but could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to climb his way back through the order. We know how competitive Matthias is, but that is a major setback in this second race of the season. Everyone kind of sorting themselves out now. Single file up and down the field. And not too many changes of position at the moment. The big beneficiaries of that first lap, Bod Berlin went up a couple of the order currently. He's just lost out to Ian Roots, but still up a couple of places for himself. And also Tom Methel, the driver that we're just watching now, up 3 positions up into 13th place. But a long way to go as Marcel van der Linden trying to get past Ronald Moons. Of course, van der Linden, one of the only Fords out there currently on the circuit. And he's just about going to get past Ronald Moons down into turn 1. That's a very nice move there from Ronald. Now second place. Yeah, well, sorry, Marcel, of course, going past Ronald Moons, still second place in the silver category.
Yes, nice move there. Sorry everyone about the buffering. Should be solved right now. You might have had like 15 or 20 seconds of a black screen, but now we are back, and hopefully with a much more stable connection. So apologies for that. So quick rundown of the situation right now. The first 2 guys are Martin van Loosenhold and Jeff van Genechten, and they are absolutely running away with it. Marvin Amans is bit lonely there in third place. And then there's this train of cars with Dion Phillips, Dave Whittlebos, Lewis Ward, Bod Boland, and Stein Van Buell. This is the top 8, and rounding up the top 10, Sebastian Eberer and Gregory Ranks.
Yeah, so similar situation to what we saw last time out at Donington, where we kind of had 5th to about 15th all in a queue. We've got a few more of these queues, not the easiest circuit to overtake round, of course, this. So expect these drivers to maybe form a few trains. As Gregory Franks, I believe, no, it's Ian Reed, sorry, going into the pits. He was in a decent position, and, well, of course, you don't need much fuel around this circuit, but, well, I don't think they're going to be able to go 54 minutes. So issues there for a couple of the Sim Racers World drivers already. Bank Nixon trying to keep up. He's trying to stay within about a second of Martin Van Loosenau, and that last lap was 1/10 slower. They're absolutely pushing as hard as they possibly can currently. But certainly could come down to a mistake from one of these two, because they are on the ragged edge, holding nothing back, and they are now 4 seconds clear of everyone else in this race. Lewis Ward getting very close to Davey Whitterballs. And, of course, last time out, Marco, we saw an interesting conundrum where we had the leader of the Silver Drivers, not quite sure who it was in hindsight, but the leader of the Silver Drivers, of course, losing the race in the last lap, trying to go for a move on one of the Gold Drivers. It'll be interesting to see if Witterpulse puts up much of a fight against these drivers, who, of course, he doesn't necessarily have to beat in order to boost his championship credentials.
Yes, there's always like the what we said about you know, do you think about your category, or do you think about you know, more towards the overall classification, you know? So we'll see how it works for these drivers. Oh, finally I was able to get Martin Van Loosenor's full name in the graphics. It was bugging me since Donington round, and now finally it's there. So it's always tricky, you know, because of course if I was one of these drivers, I would only think about my category. But I am very slow, and to me, you know, to stay in the lead of a class, you know, would be a dream come true. But these drivers have much more pace, and surely they are aiming maybe a bit higher when you see that you are there. So let's see what is the mindset of Davey there, leader of the silver class. Of course, let's also show the classes. You can see on top of the screen: gold, silver, and bronze. Think of this as sort of a pro-am and am category, more or less, and they each get points in the overall standings, depending on where they finish in the overall race, but also each category has its own mini race, where the winner of the gold, silver, and bronze classes all get the same amount of points, and same goes for second place, etc., no matter where you finish on the racetrack.
Yeah, so it gives everyone something to race for. And the fact that you got 3 different categories, certainly necessary in such a massive grid as this is. Great to see so many drivers out there at the moment. Here comes Lewis Ward, who's absolutely been hounding Davey Whitspos for a couple of laps. Whenever I look across at the live timing board, it's always below about 4/10 of a second, which is really as close as he can keep up with the driver. He's now within quarter of a second, even bringing it down to 2/10. But there's just not many places to get past round this Laguna Seca circuit. That Ferrari ought to be pretty good down the straights. The Audi, though, not bad itself, as they just go round the final corner now. Oh, and off
Bod Boland
goes Boland.
He
So
saved
was
it.
up a couple of places. He's now going to be under big pressure from Herbert. He might be gaining his 4th position so far in this race. Here comes Herbert for the Sim Racers World team. He's going to have to go to the outside into turn 1. There's not really any way around that, just so much further to drive, of course. And Boland will at least minimize the damage, but did lose a place to Stein Van Buell.
Yes, that was a uncharacteristic mistake by Bod. Let's watch it again on board. I clipped that the speed bump there, as Nick Schurmans is dropping down the order.
Was up in 12th position was Sherman's. He's down into 20th now and could be under more pressure from Chris Miles just behind. This is what happened to Sherman's. Has there been contact, I wonder? No. Well,
Oh,
there was
well,
maybe a little bit of post-contact,
yeah.
but the spin was all his fault.
So not an ideal situation there. Let's go back to this great battle for 5th place with Whitballs really holding his own against the gold driver in Ward, and of course Dion Phillips not that far away in 4th place.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stein Van Buel as well, not too far behind either, as we look at his brother, Ruben Van Buel.
I assume they are brothers,
Looking...
because...
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure we were told, I think I was told by a message that they are brothers, we believe. So, yes. Good to see siblings race on iRacing, not necessarily something that you see a whole lot of. And also, even stranger that they're in the same team. I imagine, you know, that could make for some awkward for some awkward family dinners potentially if something went wrong with that. But certainly Van Buel, Ruben, trying to keep in touch with his team. He is a gold driver. He's got a couple of silver drivers ahead of him, so you wouldn't expect Jeremy Hassels to put up too much of a fight. Hassel's, of course, winning race 1, so it's the championship leader. Sorry, no, that was Nick Sherman's, apologies, who's the championship leader. Is going wide is Jeremy Hassels, and that's going to be a slowdown, surely. Trying to get through is Van Buel. Unless he's absolutely timed that perfectly, Hassels, and isn't going to lose any places.
Ooh!
No, here we go.
Wow. That is something that is very tricky when a driver takes a slowdown and you don't expect it, and all of a sudden you have a car slowing down right in front of you. Good avoidance job by Ruben Van Buel there. Now this is David Fuller, the leader in the bronze category, and his closest rival. He was absolutely fantastic in Donington Park. And he's doing it again because it's in P18, and his closest rival in the bronze class is Theisberg, and he's in P27. So surely David is really showing some great pace in this opening part of the season. Let's go back to our two friends here, David Whitballs and Lewis Ward.
Yeah, Whitballs still having to hold off Ward. What a defensive masterpiece this has been so far from Davey. Or maybe just consistency masterpiece. He hasn't given Ward a single opportunity. Ponzi Motorsports versus Black Sheep Motorsports. Maybe a little bit of a mistake here though. And down the inside will go Ward into the final corner. One of the slowest corners on the circuit. But he was having none of it, was Davey Whitballs. And he stays ahead for now. Got to get back into the slipstream, has Lewis Ward. But maybe a little bit late to do so. Now starting to gain on his rival. He'll look to the inside into turn 1. He's not brave enough on the brakes, so that Ferrari just too good. Almost contact between the two of them. Almost sliding round there is Ward. And they're going to go side by side again into turn 2. No chance for the dummy, maybe to the inside for Ward. But right now, offline for every single corner is Whitballs. They're losing each other a lot of time. But it is fantastic to watch, Marco.
Fantastic stuff, and what a defense from Davey, who quite clearly stated his intention to everyone, including us in the commentary booth. He cares about the overall standings, and why not? I mean, that was great defense as we keep following from the chopper, because I think this gives us the best perspective, and now they will break hard for the corkscrew, as now this fighting has once again brought Stein Van Buel back into the fold. If you're wondering about the race for the lead, you have Van Loosenord in first and Van Genekte in second, 1.2 seconds between the pair of them. Of course, you can follow the live timing. There's a link right below in the below the video, so you can follow the live timing there as it happens. The same live timing that we are watching, while we do the broadcast. As I think Ward has a nice run here, Will he go for the move? He won't.
Yeah, he's being very responsible right now, is Lewis Ward. The problem is, around a lot of this Laguna Seca circuit, it's difficult to kind of line up your opponent, really kind of get a multiple corners where you can get a better exit through every single one. They're not really in S's section as such, where you can take a slightly tighter line through one of the corners and get a better exit. Instead, it's kind of just one corner and then a straight, so it's not really any opportunity to get a real stranglehold of maybe a move. Looks to the inside into the kink. Would be very brave, that one. This is where he's super strong. And up the hill, maybe this is an opportunity because wide went Witzbol's. Ward will look to the outside, but single file up and down this corkscrew section. And Witzbol's just having to stay behind for now.
Look how much
Apparently
the cars
those,
are bouncing there. Yeah? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say how, as looks to the inside once again. Oh, we can see a repeat of a couple of laps ago. Does he leave space? Well, he didn't there, Phillips, but credit to Ward. He really got on the brakes. Apparently, those red curves advise the drivers of where to take the apexes.
Yes.
Thanks to whoever suggested that on the YouTube chat earlier on. Of course, they do have a school layout.
Yes.
On iRacing of this circuit, where they lay out a few cones for you to aim for.
Exactly.
Which I feel like I'm being very mean to you, Marco, but I was just about to say how you kind of need all the cones you can possibly get.
You know, you said it right that you have to aim, you know, towards those speed bumps.
Yes.
And not hit them. And I learned it the hard way, especially with the Skip Barber, which doesn't like those orange speed bumps very much. It's one of the few tracks where I haven't won with the Skip Barber, as they are and he's not happy. He's not happy. You saw that. We caught him, Lewis Ward, flashing his lights there towards Davey Whitballs there, as we keep following this fantastic battle here, as we almost have 1/3 of the race gone. Of course, I still remember our mathematical, adventure in the final race of last season, trying to determine at which point we were at Spa-Francorchamps. That was a special event, as, oh man, so close once again.
Oh, here we go. Ward has found a gap. He's going to try to take it. Almost contact between the two cars. Audi gets past Ferrari, though, and that is a superb move there from Lewis Ward to get past Davey Whitballs, who will try to respond straight away, but there's just no way through. That was awesome job there from Ward. So brave, Marco. There was maybe an Audi and a cigarette width for him to go down the inside then, and he absolutely took it.
Yes, that was a fantastic pass. Whitballs fought very hard until the bitter end, but that was too much, and they had to give away the position now. Let's see, because Bob Boland once again caught up with these guys after his mistake earlier. Like I said, Stein Van Buell is there. So let's see how they will interpret this particular part of the race, as also Sebastian Eberer and Gregory Ranks have also joined the party. But let's go back to the lead of the race, as Martin van Loosenhoorn has already caught, together with Jeff Van Genetten, a couple of lappers, and now they will have more lappers in front of them. So far, we have lost a few drivers. Luke Tice, Tyler Vickery, Ben Taines, and James Obden are the drivers who are not being showed on the track right now.
New to this season, it's our ability to see the incidents. Marco unfortunately can't, otherwise it would look a little bit unprofessional on the broadcast. But I can. Martin van Loosenhoorn so far with 6. Van Genetten with 6. So they're very evenly matched.
Oh, they made you admin of the league?
Yeah, I think they made you an admin as well. But certainly utilising that, as Van Genetten makes up half a second through that section. Van Loosenhoorn, as I think Martin Brundle always says, how the lead car wakes up the back markers. Makes it a little bit easier for the second place car, because, well, they are all woken up by the time they come across them. Marcel van der Linden putting good pressure on Ewan Marshall currently. Up 5 places from his starts is the Ford driver. He's only 5 seconds off 5th position Lewis Moore. That's just how competitive this midfield is. And, well, trying to first get past Ewan Marshall for the Meraki Racing R8 team. But that Ford just going to have to wait for a couple more corners, I believe. Awesome to see this train of cars. Ward has pulled away from Witzbol's, but still we've got the Witzbol's train.
Let's go on board with If for a bit and see if he can keep up with Martin van Loosenhoorn. Now, like I said, 0.7 of a second. You can see the gap on the bottom right side of the screen. Also, let's bring in the comparison for the last 5 laps between these two drivers and see what it shows us. And you can see that the gap has been reduced quite a bit in the last lap. Oh, look at that, there's a train of cars in front of these guys. This is going to be very interesting. Let's stick with the leaders for a bit.
They're both now on 8 incidents, by the way. So gradually accumulating them, but I'm sure they'll be very meticulous about picking them up. So, not too much of an advantage this time. They've got to be so careful. This is where accidents can happen. They've got a couple more lapped cars to get through right now. Still Van Loosenhoorn leading the way, but down to 0.4 of a second to Van Genekten. Here's Van Loosenhoorn just going to have to stay behind this car around this next corner. They are teammates, I believe. And he's going to lose a little bit of time, and this is the opportunity that Van Genekten really needs. The gap is down to just 1/10 of a second. He looks to the inside, but he can't quite make it. Now having to take a slightly tighter line through the kink. And maybe that was a good opportunity for Van Genekten. Absolutely no opportunity with 2 cars spreading across the circuit. But he is well on course for maybe an overtake move right now.
Yes, that was super close, but luckily for Van Loosenhoorn, that happened in the toughest corner of the track where you can never make a pass unless it's the first lap, like we saw at the very beginning of the race. Looks like he can have a good run here. Van Genekten, Van Loosenhoorn using a bit of the runoff area there. I think picking up probably an off track as they go past another lapped car. As so far, nothing between these two drivers. I would imagine that I would only say this, that Martin van Loosenhoorn is a fantastic driver. We talked to him last week after the win in Donington, and he, of course, he said to us, like, you know, if you follow us for a bit, you know, he's an open wheel driver that is converting to GT cars, and you know, it goes beyond saying that when you drive in GT, you have to do a lot more lapping than when you drive an open wheeler, Sam. So maybe he's still getting used to, you know, the ins and outs of lapping slower cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe doesn't have that much multi-class experience either. So still a learning course for the car number 66. He's learning certainly how to keep cars behind right now because he's still being really closely hounded as Joe just goes off in the background. That was a BMW. Is there going to be contact here between the top 2, Van Genekten and Van Loosenhoorn? I'm not sure if there was. Certainly wasn't a 4x. They're still only on 10 incidents, but really coming to a boil now.
Yeah, man, Van Genekten is really putting the pressure. I think there was just like, you know, a piece of paper worth of space between these two guys. No contact, I think. Looking at the cars, they seem to be in a good condition. But man, that was super, super close. And Van Genekten has showed that he can stay in the toe of Van Loosenhoorn. Will he be able to make a move? Will we see maybe an undercut? Because I think the pit window is open for both of these guys, as Van Genekten really aggressive there on the inside curb. Of course, I talked about those you know, those speed bumps there on the apex of the corners. Yes, they will destroy your skip barber, but they will, they will not do any good to any car, including GTs. If you hit them in the wrong angle and for the at considerable speed, so you really risk to damage your floor or once again damage some of the fenders of the car. So you have to be careful, even if you are in a GT car, to not run too close to the apex of the corner.
Absolutely. Think we should probably go back for a minute to the battle for 6th position. Still Davey Whitboss hanging on to it. Lost out to Lewis Ward, who's been able to pull away by about 3 seconds. But he's still got Van Buell and Boland queuing up
Oh,
behind
Van
him as
Buell.
almost off there is Van Buell. And he's going to lose a position here to Bod Boland. So Boland, after making a mistake at that very corner several laps ago, he's been able to properly recover from that since, and he's up into 7th position. And you feel like he's going to have a good chance getting past Davey Whitboss from what we've known about Bod Boland. So nice move there. Of course, got this fantastic train cars. Also, Hessels versus De Wolf was, for a moment, extremely close. It's still very close between the two of them. And here comes De Wolf, going to get past Hessels. And that's a very important move. That's the move for the final step on the podium in the silver category.
Exactly, nice move from Steven, which you can recognize by his very, very distinctive livery. Essels is not done. He wants to go back to try another move. There's some slight contact. Oh man, this is going to be tricky.
Hessel's down the inside. There's no way for the outside car. And all that's going off the circuit there, trying to turn into the corner, was De Wolf. And loses out to Hessels in the end, so he must be so frustrated. Eventually got that move done, and now he's going to have to do it all over again. And if anything, they're also inviting a couple of the other cars just behind them to get involved in this battle. Here is Herbruer versus Van der Linden. This would be the 8th position, I believe, that Van der Linden would have made up, and he's got a fantastic line against his Simracersworld GT rival. Down the inside there goes Marcel van der Linden. Is up into 9th position now.
Yes, and now Eberer, you can see him there, and he's down to P10. Gregory Ranks is, I think, right behind him. Yes, you can see him here. P11. Let's go back to David Whitboss. There is defending now from Bod Boland, who jumped Stein Van Buell, thanks to that mistake that Stein had, as Ward is going on an alternative route there, and this will of course bunch up these guys once again as they go down the corkscrew for the 22nd time tonight. And man, the two leaders are absolutely close. No way through
absolutely.
for Van Genechten, but he will not give up easily.
Well, at least this isn't a repeat of Donington, where it just seemed as though Van Liesman had 0.2 of a second over Van Genechten. Today, they are absolutely evenly matched. Maybe even the Atomic Motorsport Joe has a small advantage. And usually we see Van Genechten just wait until the pit stops to go for a move. He feels like today he is in the mood where if he sees half an opportunity, he is going to take it. We nearly saw him make a move into that kink earlier on when Van Liesnow got stuck behind traffic. I'm sure if he gets a similar chance to that, he will try to take it next time, as we see side by side, 3rd position in the silver category. De Wolf trying to go all the way around the outside. He can get a good exit here. Hasn't quite lined it up, maybe getting a little bit of wheel spin, sliding ever so slightly out of that corner. Essel's hanging on for now. They're losing time to 2nd place driver Ronald Moons, 8 seconds up the road. And yeah, so was just looking at Herbert and Frank's relatively close to one. They are teammates, so don't expect them to get too feisty.
There's also here the Tige getting past Chris Miles. That was for P20, and once again the two leaders now dealing with some traffic. Oh, this is going to
here
be
we go. This could be
narrow.
an opportunity. Will he go to the inside? There's just no way through. but this is as close as he's been. 0.2 of a second behind for ApexRacingTV. Nice going there from Van Loosenholt. He looks to the inside, trying to scare his rival off. Real trail breaking, getting an early apex, but still the opportunity does not arise.
Man, that was so close. Van Genechten almost getting a big win thanks to the better usage of lap traffic, which is something that is very tough to do, I have to say. So I mean, no disrespect to Martin, which is a fantastic driver, and I think he will get the hang of this quite quickly. Also here, what we have on the inside, Boland gets to P5, to P6, apologies, over the Wittables, and now more cars. Stein Van Buell on the inside. Will he
Oh,
keep the
he's
car on
missed
the
the
track?
corner
No.
though.
Yeah.
And here comes Van der Linden, sorry. Almost contact between the two of them. That forward front end is very long. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite long enough to make contact. So Van der Linden now up into 8th position.
Jump on board with the Ford for a bit, because that engine is a fantastic sound. And you know I am a Ford fanboy, so... And I'm in control of the cameras, more importantly. So, yeah.
Yes.
Just a couple of corners on board with the Ford.
Oh, Boland's a little bit wide again through the final corner. Not a big fan of that one, seemingly. Should be okay down into turn 1. These three cars ever so close to one another at the moment. Because what you got to remember, Witzbold's silver driver looks well on course for his first victory of the season. So really no point in fighting these guys too hard and potentially having an accident, just as we saw last week with Steve Clays. Where is Steve Clays? In fact, he couldn't set a qualifying time. He's up into 29th position, but certainly a long way off where he would like to be after quite a dominant performance at Silverstone. Sorry, not Silverstone, Donington. And despite 2 crashes, he still finished on the podium.
That was quite the eventful race for him, I have to say, as once again we have the Ford putting pressure on the Ferrari. But this is not Le Mans. It's Laguna Seca, and I have to say that... oh, look at that also. We have some arguing here over positions as they go down the hill. And I think that Sebastian Eberer just lost a spot to Ewan Marshall. Now there's also Tom Metterall also trying to get into this fight.
Here comes Van der Linden. No room on the inside, gonna have to go the long way round. Now we'll try to get the cut back. Such a unique turn 1 this, so you can very much square off the second part of the corner, but just a little bit too early on the power there. Got onto the sand. And we'll have to wait for a few more corners. There's still very close between these top two. Here comes back the next one. Can he look to the inside? No. Maybe even the final corner. A little bit of a wiggle there for Van Loosenholt.
Oh,
and contact.
Dear.
There was definitely contact that time. They've come close to one another several times already. And they are accumulating these incident points. Van Genechten with 13. Van Loosenholt with 13 as well. Only 25 for this race, so they've got to be careful, especially if they pick up a 4X. And, well, this one is really heating up before the pit stops, of course, because they can probably only go another maybe 10-15 minutes.
And just like that, 35 minutes have gone. Entertainment off the charts. I was quite sure this was going to happen today. This series is fantastic. These two drivers here are absolutely stealing the show. And whilst it's tough for Van Genechten to have to keep the pace, it's also tough for Van Loosenholt because it's not easy to do 35 minutes of racing with a driver basically glued to your rear bumper. So props to both of these guys. Let's see who is going to bite first with the pit stop.
Yeah, maybe Van Genechten can sort something out with the traffic. Of course, if they do come into the pits, remember they'll have a few laps with that undercut where they'll be with more fuel, of course. And, well, that's kind of the disadvantage. You usually want to go as fast as you possibly can, but of course, if there's a little bit of traffic up ahead, you can maybe come into the pits, get a bit of clear air, but at the same time, unless you got a very good spotter, you're not quite sure where you're going to come out, and you might even come out behind drivers who will be racing you for position, so it's ever so difficult for these drivers to deal with strategy choice. Hopefully, DynamiXX will be able to summon up something to maybe get his first race win of the season.
Well, unless you have our overlay software, which you can get at sdkgaming.co.uk, that has also a built-in prediction for your pit stop.
Ah,
Of course, before you tell well, but then you get it always wrong. Well, you have to be a driver in the car. It's not available when you are just spectating like we are. Oh man! What was that? James Dobden, maybe not. There was a car that went up in front of the leaders. It was Driz Mujdi. And that was inches away from disaster.
yeah, and, certainly DynamiXX would have been
Oh!
unsighted with this one, and could have so easily gone further into the circuit. Super fortunate, the leading two drivers right there. Boland still under pressure from... In fact, Van der Linden's got ahead of Witterpulse. Did we see that one? Not sure if we did.
I think we did. I think. As
I'm
drivers
not sure.
are taking the route, they're going out of the way when they can, sometimes, even if this means picking up an incident point on the gravel to move out of the way of the leaders. I mean, Sam, you are a very, very good driver, and you won, just like me, several endurance events. How tough it is to maintain the pace that these two guys here are having, whilst slicing and dicing through the traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I was just about to say how, of course, in endurance races, it's that much better because you haven't necessarily got that high intensity. You can see this is pretty intense though. 1 hour is an absolute sprint for these drivers, no holding back. And so they're not leaving anything on the table, and so it's that much more difficult. As
Oh,
off
but
the second
Bolander.
goes Boland, and he's going to lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions. Down into 12th place now is Bod Boland, 13th position. He was up in 6th place previously. He's already got damage, so maybe had an off earlier on in the race, and he completely missed his braking. Well, I say completely missed his braking point, just missed it a little bit. Didn't quite hitch up the line, and well, there's barely anything more painful in iRacing to lose all those positions all of a sudden.
Van Genekten must have had an issue, because he suddenly dropped quite a bit. Maybe it was that
He
mistake
lost a little
there.
bit more time. Yeah, he lost a little bit more time through the corkscrew as well.
Yes, so
Up
1.4
to
seconds now.
1.4 seconds.
Nothing big, but in a race as tight as this, it could make the difference come the end of the race. If I was him, maybe I would head into the pits right now. To get everything sorted and get clear his head a bit. It was a small mistake, but once again, in the context of this race, could be a big mistake, as of course you also have to, like you were saying, be as sure as possible, if you can, to then come out in clean air. Otherwise, it's not very helpful to pit a bit earlier.
Yeah, really needs Scott Neaton, of course, Peter Bayman's team or strategist, as Marcel van der Linden comes into the pits, was up into 6th position previously.
Oh, I think we had an issue with
It's...
for Bot Boland.
Oh dear. Well, it's been a roller coaster ride for Bod Boland so far in this race. Sorry, I can't see this one, Mark, so you'll have to go through this.
He lost the car at the corner before the kink. Didn't crash, but called it a day parking it. So I think he was having some damage from earlier, the same damage that maybe caused him to miss the corner at corkscrew, or maybe he was trying to or he had maybe by going off track he damaged his car, and he called it a day. So big disappointment for Bod. Was always there fighting for good positions in the past, and he will score a big 0 today.
Yeah, that's another disappointing round for him. Donington was looking, of course, for a podium before a crash, which then left him vulnerable from other drivers, which caused another crash, and he didn't finish the race. Nick Sherman's won in the silver category. He's up into second position, according to my screen, at least. Here is Marcel van der Linden trying to make his way up through the field. He's under big pressure. These have got to be a couple of superb laps if he wants to keep that sixth position, as the other drivers will inevitably come into the pits. He's got Nick Sherman's just ahead of him. He's got to get this done absolutely as soon as possible, because after that he'll have, I believe... Oh, sorry, no, this is a back marker. Apologies. But yeah, in fact, he's actually got 5 seconds to the next proper car up the road. But even this leaving him a little bit of time. Expects all the other drivers to be in within about 5 minutes.
We have already a driver of the day, a party on the chat, a political party pushing, a fan club pushing for Marcel as the driver of the day, which could be we should do it. We really should do it, to vote the driver of the day. we have to find a way to do it in a democratic and not at all, complex way. But sure, as Leon Phillips is the in P4 and goes in for his pit stop, as at the front of the pack. Now the gap is down to 1 second, so Van Genekten has been able to close the gap a little bit, as Gregory Ranks also is in. By the way, you can follow the pit stops on the bottom side of your screen.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry to derail the broadcast ever so slightly, but I do have to make a point how awful the fan voting has been recently in Formula 1.
Yeah,
17% apparently is the winning margin for the past two driver of the day. And personally, as a politics student, we learn all about different voting systems, how 40% doesn't warrant a victory, 17% barely warrants a victory. They really do need to reform it. And also, Sergio Perez ought to really win it every single week, because he has been superb at Shanghai and Baku, and deserved a medal, and he didn't get either of them, which I was absolutely outraged by. But sorry for the little rant. I'm sure our system would be far better, because there's only 2 of us, so at least the driver would get 50% of the vote.
Oh, let's take a look at Sebastian Eberer here. Chris Miles made a mistake, an off, in the previous lap going through the kink, and now I think that Eberer and Fabio Lies are both passed. Now gap down to 0.8 of a second at the front of the field. And Sam, we have just a little bit more than 15 minutes left, so I think that these two guys are due to stop anytime soon, and that could win or lose the race for either of them. Do you still think they will pit in different laps, or are you thinking that Van Genekten is waiting for Van Loosener to come in, so when they both go in, they go out in the same situation of traffic? Oh, well.
Here we go. Well, I was thinking, and I know this will now sound as though I'm lying, but I did think if that Van Genekten was going to leave it as long as possible, because if he wanted to undercut Van Loosener, he would have pitted already by this time. So now, this has got to be the lap of his life. He's won 11 races last season in this championship, did Van Genekten, but none of them are going to be more difficult than potentially this 12th. He's got to get past this traffic straight away. He can pick up a couple of 1Xs. That won't matter. It's all about setting the perfect in-lap now in order to get ahead of the former race leader. He has got up past that back marker and seemingly has got a clear circuit now until he has to come to the pits, pick up another 1x. He's up to 20 incidents. Could be an issue that it's only allowed 5 more as he runs wide once again. Fortunately, that wasn't
It's a
another
very,
incident he's just
very
picked
long
up.
stop for Martin van Loosenord. Sorry
Oh.
to interrupt you. He spent 1 minute and 7 seconds in the pit lane, whilst we have had an average of 55 seconds, more or less, in regular stops. So I would guess he got a penalty, or maybe something like that, as Van Genekten is in.
Here comes ApexRacingTV and then. So, has he done enough with this lap to get ahead? Or maybe has Van Loosenord put it on a platter for ApexRacingTV to eat up here and take his first race victory of the season?
Yes, and overall we've had pit stops. For example, teammate of Van Loosenord was Marvin Amans. Pitted at the same lap, did 52 seconds in the pit lane, 11 seconds in the pit stall. 11 plus 15, 26. That's exactly the stop that Martin did, so I think Martin got a penalty. And
Here we go then, ApexRacingTV's coming out of the pit lane and he is going to take the lead. The former leader, Martin Van Loosenord, a long way behind. So Van Genekten's done all he could. He's pushed Van Loosenord into a mistake. And he's looking, of course, for the race victory here today at Laguna Seca.
yes, what a disappointment for Martin van Loosenord, I think, after, racing so well and racing, resisting under pressure for so long, as we have now a flurry of pit stop activity, and then to throw it all away for a penalty. So really, really, really bad luck. I'm guessing a penalty, usually the penalty is 15 seconds for speeding in the pits. So, and if you take tires, it takes a lot more. So I don't think it was accidental tire. I think it was quite probably, sorry, a penalty. And now he's 16 seconds behind with a couple, 12 minutes left. Impossible to get them unless something crazy happens to Van Genekten. So, this gives us a chance to go through the top 5 in each category. No, I will wait a second for it because we still have some drivers in the pits, and as soon as the pit stop cycle is over, we will go through the top 5 in each category so you can get an idea of what is the situation in each class.
Yeah, absolutely, because as these pit stop sequences go through, it can be quite difficult to keep up with all that's going on. But yeah, certainly ApexRacingTV, no doubt about him being the leader as it stands. Any changes further down? Lewis Ward's still, of course, in 5th place, Van der Linden in 6th. Ewan Marshall has pitted, I believe. So he's gained maybe a couple of positions. And
He pitted, yes.
Yes, he started in 11th. Apologies, Ewan. We haven't noticed you that much so far in this race, and hopefully that doesn't come across at all harsh or anything. But he is doing superbly at the moment in 7th position. I think gained a couple of places. David Witzboss has lost out during the pit stops. He's lost a couple of places. Remember, was as high as 5th position shortly prior to the 6th position shortly prior to the pit stop sequence. But he's down into 8th position now. 9th position. No, 8th position. Apologies.
Okay, so I think we have just waiting for 2 more drivers which are stopping right now. I think Dries Mujdi and James no, only Dries Mujdi, because James Obden, sadly for him, is having some big issues and he's been in the pit lane for almost a quarter of an hour now. And Dries Mujdi is having a long stop as well. So let's go through the top 5 in each category while we are at it. And of course, here comes the leader. It's EF Van Genekten, and he was able to win a battle of nerves against Martin van Loosenord, who is in 2nd place. His teammate is in third, is Marvin Ammons here. In fourth place we have Dion Phillips for Excite Audio Sim Racing Division, and in fifth place Black Sheep Motorsport driver Lewis Ward. This is the gold and the overall as well. In silver, Davey Whittleballs is your race leader for Ponti Motorsport. Second place for a very consistent, if not if not spectacular, Ronald Moons. Steven De Wolf is bouncing back and is in third place. Jeremy Essels is in fourth, and in fifth place is Nick Shermans. And in the bronze class, once again, David Fuller is dominating the picture. He is in the lead. Scott Malcolm, another very consistent driver, is in second. Sam Bentham is in third for Team GB Esports. Then Thijs van den Berg and Ben Llewellyn for Abruzzi Simware race team. He is in fifth place in his class. So that's the situation with exactly 10 minutes to go. And let's see, in Donington we have had a very exciting end of the race. And that was because the leader of the silver class was fighting with gold drivers. And that is exactly what's happening right now. I'm not wishing any bad luck on Davey. But if I was him, I would, given what happened at Donington, I would not fight it too hard.
Yes, maybe wise. Of course, Whitball's... Oh, well, I guess you watched it, didn't you? I was about to say you didn't witness what happened last time. Hopefully you listened to us. Of course, Steve Clays, I believe it was, who got caught up in all of that. Very much, he wanted to race. He wanted to go for the move. It wasn't a crazy move by any means. As Ronald Moons loses out. Bit of a commentator's curse there, because Marco was just previously saying how consistent a drive this has been for Moons, but he is dropped down now below a couple of other drivers. I believe he's dropped below De Wolf now. So issues there for Ronald Moons, down into 18th overall.
And now he's in the clutches of Nick Schurmans, but also, thanks for the chat for letting me know, we have a battle for fourth place with Lewis Ward and Dion Phillips very close to each other, with Lewis Ward having a good run now coming out of the final corner.
Yeah, Ward, of course, lost time earlier on while stuck behind Davey Whitterballs. If it weren't for that, he may have been able to make this move against Dion Phillips a while back. But nice to see this battle now for fourth position there. 9 seconds behind Marvin Ammons. You wonder if Ward hasn't been stuck behind Whitterballs earlier on. Maybe he could have even fought for a podium. But he is on course for potentially his second top 5 of the season. Donington, maybe a little bit of luck featured into it after dropping down as far as 9th in the early stages, but today certainly has warranted this position, and he's right on the tail of his rival, 0.3 of a second between 4th and 5th places. And Ward with a good exit here, not usually an overtaking opportunity though, down into the corkscrew. Will he go for the dummy? Good braking there from Dion Phillips. He'll stay ahead for a few more corners. We've seen really so far today, the final corner, maybe the best chance at going for a move. You can see he's taking some wider lines, trying to take some different lines just to generate that little bit more speed. Not quite getting the exit from that penultimate corner that he needed to go for a move, but maybe he can utilize the traffic to his advantage. And once again, he's good on the exit, maybe even picking up a 1x there was Dion Phillips, closing in their slipstream, but they're both Aldis, of course, so not a massive pace advantage. Looking to the inside wall, but way too far back. As Muretta's off from 14th place, and Ronald Moons from 2nd position at one point in this race. And he's dropped way down the order now, had already dropped down to 4th position, I believe, and now out of the race.
Yeah, something must have happened here. Let's see, Ronald Moons goes wide into the gravel, loses the car. There was already a car there. That was also Nick Sherman. So Chris Moretta, I think, crashed on his own. And after a few seconds, we've had the contact between Moons and Sherman's there. It was the same exact crash for Moretta and for Moons. You will see Moons in a second join the picture and crash in the same way. I think. Maybe. Yes. Oh, finally.
Pretty incredible turn of events there. So some of the front runners, of course, and they've had a major setback there. We've got another car as well, another Simracersworld car, I believe, in the barriers.
Nick
Now only
Schurman's
14
had to has jumped on in the pits, so now
That's
it's
it.
Essels in third, and Clay's up to fourth in class.
Well, it's going to be interesting to look at the championship standings after today because prior to this event, it was Sherman's in the lead of the championship on 25 points, but he's not going to be in the lead of the championship anymore, you feel. And a real opportunity for Davey Witterboss, despite missing that first round of the championship, to make a whole chunk of points back here at Laguna Seca.
One thing we can say
Phillips
for
still,
sure
sorry.
is that these silver drivers don't like the final few laps of the race because we had
No.
Drama in Donington in the silver class and now Drama here in Laguna Seca. Ruben Van Buell on the inside of Tom Methrol. Is there space for two cars? I think that he will have to wait a bit.
All off the side goes Methrol. And maybe using the track extension ever so slightly to his advantage. He gets the move done though on Ruben Van Buell up into 10th place. And he can now go chase down Davey Witterboss, who's only just up the road, just behind these guys. You've got Stein Van Buell. So the Van Buell brothers have somehow found themselves on the same piece of circuit. They started quite apart from one another. Ruben started 8 places lower than his brother Stein, but here comes,
dear!
And there's going to be contact as well. Big mistake there. Ruben Van Buell will go wide. Stein Van Buell waiting for his opponents. They won't lose too many positions. It was Methel who got spun, and Methel will now move ahead. It's great news though for Herbert and yeah, just Herbert, I believe, who gains a position on the pair of them.
I am shocked. Looks like Stein Van Buell completely missed his braking point there, so it was quite strange to see. Let's see it from this perspective.
He has said sorry on the text channel. Yeah, he was just... The thing is, in Stein's defense, he would have made the corner. That BMW is so good on the brakes. He was probably just taking his normal racing line, or not normal racing line, but it was just going for a normal overtake. As we see side by side now, Phillips versus Ward. Ward had got past, Phillips gets back past, and now Ward responds once again. Phillips just about moving ahead. Can Ward find the inside going into turn 1? This is the move he pulled off earlier on. But he's not quite as confident on the brakes this time. Phillips doing a great defensive job at the moment.
Wow, what a fantastic race from start to finish, and it's not over. Some more fireworks in store with the gold class and overall class 4th and 5th spot left to the side. It seems like David Witterboss has been able to find himself in a more comfortable place now in P9 overall, and same can be said for the leader in the bronze classes. Now we have Bush and Dimmer. This is the fight for 5th and 6th in the silver class.
Yeah, so they've been elevated a couple of positions as Phillips is under pressure again. Down the inside. And they make contact. And they're both going to be run into the wall. Goes Theon Phillips. And Lewis Ward is going to lose out as well. Marcel van der Linden goes up into 4th position. Well, they were basing on being the driver of the day earlier on. He's up 13 positions now. What a great performance it's been in that Ford GT machine. Ward still in 5th place. This is how it happened. So it was Phillips making a mistake initially. Down the inside went Ward. And it was Phillips who lost the car, spun ever so slightly into Ward. Then the overcorrection from Phillips. Into the wall he went, and he's got quite severe damage. Might be able to get to the end of the race still.
Wow, unbelievable stuff. Absolutely crazy stuff. as the leader is taking the white flag right now, and look at Marcel van der Linden, Christmas coming early. He gets the position, 2 positions in fact, as here we go, Yves van Genechten starting the final lap of the race.
Still staying on 20 instants. He's really calmed it down since that pit stop where, you know, he had kind of 5 instants to pick up, or only 4 instants to pick up over the course of about 15 minutes, but he's not picked up a single one, just showing his kind of self-control. Witzer Bowles then in 8th place, trying to hold back Phillips. But that should be pretty simple, considering the damage that Phillips has got. Ward still in 5th position. Looks good for that fifth position. So not too bad for those drivers in the end. But out in the lead, still got about, 3/4 of a lap, I believe, for Ifanganekton to complete. Being a superb performance as Witzball's having to go defensive against Phillips. Ponty Motorsports versus Excite Audio Sim Racing Division. Down the inside will go, or sorry, down the outside will go Phillips, trying to get the cutback now. Looking to get the inside, but we're going to have to go to the race leader. Because Ifanganekton, he scored 11 race victories last season, but this one will be more satisfying than any of them, I'm sure. He wins at Laguna Seca. He takes his first race victory of the season. He will even the points at the top of the championship. He beats Martin van Liesnold to the race win. Third place will be
Marvin Amans.
Marvin Amons. And of course, we're still watching this battle going on because Phillips is under big pressure from Witterballs still. This is the battle for 8th and 9th. We got to make sure that, of course, Witterballs gets across the line. He's the leader of the silver dress. We've already had David Fuller crossing the line as the winner of the bronze category. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. But is there any way through for Phillips? He was on course for a 4th position. It was this corner where that all fell away from him. Phillips doing an awesome job of defending, but a little bit of a slide. Having to go to the outside. Is there going to be a terrific run to the line, maybe? Getting him stopped on the apex. Phillips will accelerate from the final corner, but that aero damage he picked up earlier on just costing him, and he will have to finish that race in 9th position.
And so Dave Witterballs win in dramatic fashion in his class, with also getting a nice 8th place overall, as everyone has got past the start finish line. Sam, what a fantastic race this was, and we are also ready to take you through the final results of race 2 of the championship, and here we go.
Yes, and it's Ifanganekton winning out 10 seconds clear in the end of Martin van Liesnold, who of course had that pit lane penalty, which really potentially lost him the race. But of course, we'll never know what would have happened. But it was a great duel between the two of them in the end. Marvin Amons rounded out the podium, his first podium in this series, I believe. So well done to him. Marcel van der Linden, what a performance. 17th on the grid, got up to 4th, pretty much had to make all those moves by himself, and then of course got that little bit of luck in the closing stages. Lewis Ward finished in 5th place. Nice drive again from what he's accumulating a nice amount of points at the moment. Gregory Franks finished in 6th place, a little bit of a quiet race for him. So too for Ewan Marshall in 7th. Then it was Davey Witterballs, who was running as high as 4th position, I believe, very early on in the race. Fell back a little bit, but still nice silver victory for him in 8th place overall. Dion Phillips was in 9th with Ruben Van Buell rounding out the top 10. There was Sebastian Herbuer and Tom Metherell in 12th. And then the drivers who were one lap down, Stein Van Buell, Matthias de Teach, David Fuller won the 2nd bronze race of the season. So well done to him. Hopefully we'll have a chat with him very soon. Stephen De Wolf was just behind in 16th. And there's Jeremy Hessel, Steve Clays, Andrew Hopley, and William Bush rounding out the top 20. Then behind that was Lee Deemer, John McConville, Robbie Callender, Jochen Lennartz, Scott Malcolm, Roy Viverke, Ian Roots, Theisberg, Ben Lelewin, Kevin Boland, and then I believe the drivers who retired: Stuart Musselwhite, Stephen Castrop, Nick Shermans, Chris Moretta, Ronald Moons, Chris Miles, Dries Mouldy, Sam Bentham, Ben Taines, Benjamin Mears, Bod Boland, James Hobden, Thomas McDonald, Tyler Bickery, and also Luke Thies, I believe, in 45th position.
Yes, and as you can see in gray, the three very, very, very nice admins that helped today's race: Peter Graus, Bardelman, and Daniel McCauley, the defending silver champion, who, as you know, cannot race this season, but is providing some admin duty, which is very, very nice. Okay, we have David Witterbos, Martin van Luzenoord, and I think Steven de Wolf ready for interview. Sam, you pick the first.
Ooh, well, I think we'll have to go with Martin van Luzenoord, I think, because it was a great drive, Martin. Put it on pole position, but the race defining moment was in the pits. Let's just take us through what happened, why you picked up that penalty.
It wasn't a penalty, really. I was adjusting the tire pressure because I started on the wrong pressures, and I think the box checked, so the car did mechanics did a new tire change for on the four wheels. So I wasn't about to check them, but I mean I unchecked all the tires. But probably when you make an adjustment to the tire pressure, they check and you lose 10 seconds straight away. Plus, I had 5 seconds optimal repairs, and for some reason it didn't let me go. So.
Well, that was a great shame, Martin, because before that, holding back Ike, it was super exhilarating to watch. Were you feeling the pressure that he was hounding your rear wing quite the way that he was?
Yeah, he was really good on the brakes. Um, yeah, I really expected him at some point, right at the inside of me at turn one or the last turn coming up the straight. But because he was really really good on the brakes over there, so and it seems like my setup wasn't just good at braking, but just more better on the exit. So yeah, that was it was tough to keep him behind me. But yeah, until the pit stops, it worked out. But yeah, good job on him, man.
Absolutely. And just take us through the instance as well. You're both accumulating quite a bit. I guess you don't know how many I've got, but he was about 20 incidents around the pit stop area. Were you having to keep an eye on that? Were you changing your driving ever so slightly just to adjust so that you didn't accumulate the 25 that would have got you disqualified?
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on him, but yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, yeah, you just need to keep an eye on him and hope that you don't hit someone, that you get a 4x. Then it goes really quick, of course. So if you can manage the X's, then you're all right. But I sometimes I think I did compromise a bit on the exit of the last turn because you get a weird X if you go a little bit too wide, even if you're with two wheels inside the track. But yeah, it's living on the edge.
Absolutely. It was great to watch you out there today, Martin. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
I would like to thank all my sponsors and the team. And yeah, that's basically it.
Thanks,
And you
Martin.
guys, of
And
course. I'm sorry.
of course, thank you very much. We'll
Of
give you a
course,
bit of
you guys.
patience
Thank you. Thank
next
you.
time.
All
No
right.
problem. See you next week.
All right. See you.
Okie doke. Marco, who do you fancy having a quick word with?
Let's have a chat with the bronze winner, David Fuller. Hello, David.
Hello.
So another week and another, I should say, dominant performance in the bronze class. Congratulations! And how was the race?
Yeah, thanks. It was good. The setup felt better than last week. At the start of the race, the setup was really good. I was just trying to keep out of trouble, really, just follow the train, not battle anybody too hard. And then as the race went on, I was just trying to look after the tyres a bit, just sort of try and keep a decent average lap pace, which seemed to work. Some people were going out around us, so I gained some positions.
So, what are I mean, you are certainly very very good in your class. You find yourself battling once again, like I said last week, with silver drivers. Did your mindset change compared to last week, or did you race in exactly the same way? Caring more about your class than the overall position in the end.
The the pressure was on, I felt. I didn't have sort of the nerves of the first race and the first time racing with Simracersworld. This one, I didn't feel those nerves, but being the class leader, I sort of felt those nerves a bit. And I think there was a guy 2 paces behind us at the start of the race who was bronze as well. So I was just basically keeping an eye on his times, managing the race really. And then when I seen him drop off, I just sort of calmed it down a bit, trying not to battle anybody. But yeah, the pace seems to be good. I had more practice this time, so I think that helped us. A much better setup as well. So yeah, just all seemed to fall into place.
And next week, if I am not mistaken, we are going to Spa-Francorchamps. Are you excited about it? How do you feel about that racetrack?
I love Spa. I think it's going to be cool temperatures as well because I think it's a night transition. The only problem with Spa is though everybody seems to be good at Spa. It's a track that everybody loves, so I think a lot of people would have practiced it. So I think there could be a lot more battling next week. But I think finally for the Mercedes drivers, it's a track that we're gonna have a bit more performance. I felt like the extra weight didn't suit the Mercedes this race.
Well, thank you very much, David. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Just the team, Team GB Esports for the practice sessions and help with the setup, and also Ian for, as usual, for hosting it. Top job.
Well, thank you very much, man, and catch you next week then.
Will do. Bye bye.
That was the bronze class winner, David Fuller. Next up, we will have an interview with Davey Witterbowles, our silver class winner. And Davey, of course, your first race of the season, and it went pretty much as well as can be expected. Quite an easy, well, I say easy victory to the silver class, but you were quite dominant in that class, and you had some fantastic battles with many of the front-running gold drivers as well.
Good evening, guys. It was a nice race, but it was not so easy than it looked because the preparation was very hard. It didn't work, and I was a month out of the country, so it took some time again to get used to it, but it didn't work, and I changed my setup completely 3 hours before the race. But I'm very happy. I was very uh, pleased with P6 in qualifying, and yeah, the race went very well. I got 2 times hit in the back, but for the rest, yeah, everything was fine.
Absolutely. We saw last week an interesting finish to the race with the silver class leader making contact with a gold class driver in the closing stages. Were you fighting those gold class drivers as hard as you'd fight anyone else, or were you slightly more relaxed around them, considering that you were maybe more focusing on winning the silver class?
Well, of course, I'm fighting them, and I wanted to keep a buffer between me and the first silver class driver behind me. But yeah, I didn't know how much the gap was, but I always want to keep some gold drivers behind me as a buffer. But yeah, I fight them, but not to the limit. I don't want to destroy my race and the gold drivers race.
Absolutely not. And around this Laguna Seca circuit, it was difficult to overtake. You and Lewis Ward in particular had a fantastic battle. Was it difficult to keep him behind? Was it difficult to kind of deal with the pressure that he was bringing?
Well, it's a track where it's difficult to overtake, and that was good for me. But eventually, I need to let him pass, and um, yeah, it's very tricky. At the end, my tires were gone, so you make more mistakes. You go wide, and yeah, everything depends on the setup, I think. And if you have a setup that's better for the tires, you make profit. But the difficulty of overtaking was in my favor.
And next up, we head to Spa. Are you strong around that circuit?
Well, I know the track very well. I don't know what it will give in the Ferrari. The Ferrari is not the fastest car, but we will see. I hope for the best, and hopefully I can win again.
Absolutely. We'll wish you the best of luck for that one, Davey. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, like always, Ponti Motorsport, you guys for the broadcast, also Bart Delman and Nick Schuurmans for subscribing me when I was away. Yeah, and all the friends.
Thanks, Davey, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.
Well, who are we going to interview next, Marco?
Well, I would like to have a chat with the biggest mover of the race, and that was before we interview Steve Claes, I think. No, yes, let's talk with Steve Claes, who was the biggest mover of the race, and in the end he gained a nice 29 positions. Hello, Steve.
Hello, guys.
So, starting from the pits for a penalty, if I'm not mistaken, in the end you were able to get yourself a pretty nice result, all things considered.
Yeah, I didn't start from the pits. I started from the end of the line, so I think in 47th position. And I tried to gain as much positions as possible. It was not very easy on this track, and I really got held up by the slower drivers, which is normal. And I made a slight mistake at the start, bumping Vervaeke. But I gave him the position, and I lost all the positions that I gained at the first, I don't know, 7, 8 laps of it. So I had to restart. So, well, in the end, P18, I'm happy.
And considering that you got your exclusion for your penalty, you couldn't qualify, and you got this penalty in a track where overtaking is not very easy, no?
Yes, it was a very hard task. It is what it is, you know. I could not qualify, and with the full grid, we had more cars than at Donington. It was not an easy task, so I really had to be patient. But the race is 1 hour. Okay, it's 1 hour. It's long, but in the end, it's not that long. So yeah, I'm very happy with top 20. That was the maximum I could get, I think.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
I'll like to thank my teammates again for the setup, and it's a pity that Martin didn't win. He made a slight mistake, but that happens. And very nice from Marvin. Very nice. So we are looking forward to next week, and see you on the.
Thank you very much, Steve, and catch you next week.
Okay, see you guys. Bye. Thanks you.
That was Steve Clay's. Couple more interviews to go. We'll have a couple of quick interviews. But first off, we'll have a chat with our elected, I believe, driver of the day, Marcel van der Linden. Marcel, and you deserve that round of applause, undoubtedly, because 17th to 4th, absolutely fantastic. You've done Ford proud today.
Yeah, it was a really good race. The qualification was not that good, but well, I could manage to to stick with the whole pack and overtake some few guys, and well, P4. So good race.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw quite a bit of contact amongst other drivers when they were trying to make their way through the field, but you just seemed to do it very kind of calmly. We didn't see a whole lot of your moves, but you kind of quite quietly just went about your business and got up into the top 8 quite quickly, and then made those few more moves. What was the key to making the overtakes today?
I was trying to put a little bit pressure on it, but well, the car's not that good to drive, but I don't know. Staying out of trouble was, I think, the main key today, and hopefully we can do it again on Spa. Maybe qualify a little bit more at the front pack, so maybe we can make a double podium out of it next time.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that final couple of laps, you were running in a very good 6th position, and then all of a sudden you had Lewis Ward and Dion Phillips spinning in front of you. Did you realise that those were the 2 cars in front of you for position straight away, or were you a bit surprised when you suddenly saw that you were up in 4th place?
Well, I was going through my F4 for the fuel, so I didn't saw it. I saw only the a little bit of a smoke, and I was thinking, okay, wait. First, let me see the on the straight what position I am, and that was P4, and also in our team chat was saying, "Oh, you're P4. Good job, good job. Bring it home." So great.
Absolutely. It's been it was great to watch you up there today, Marcel. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank all the team, the whole Atomic team, all the guys. Eve for his first win of the season, this one, and everything helped today. Also in the chat, and also Apex Racing and you guys. So
Thank you very
that's all.
much, Marcel, and
Okay, thank you.
hopefully see you next week.
Yeah, okay, thank you, man. Bye bye.
Forza Ford!
Okay, bye bye. What's up?
Sorry, I
Well, I
couldn't
think
contain myself. I should be unbiased.
no, absolutely.
That was disgraceful behavior on my part.
So I think that pretty much rounds off the interviews for this evening. And Marco, another fantastic round of the championship, in my opinion, at least. These first couple of rounds of the championship have elevated the series to new heights. Last season was absolutely superb, but these first couple of races this season have been fantastic. And it's always in that last 10 minutes, isn't it, where it all kicks off. So much action.
Yes, and get yourselves ready because next week we are going at the spiritual home of this championship, which surprisingly won't close the schedule this time around, Spa-Francorchamps, but we are racing starting in the night and finishing into the day. So we are getting the reverse enduro basically, and it's going to be fantastic track, great atmosphere with the sun rising and slowly I think putting some light on the racetrack. I mean, what more can you have, honestly? Night racing or dawn racing at Spa is going to be fantastic. Also, if you like endurance racing, don't forget that on Saturday evening we are having the Euro V8s in the final endurance round of the season. and they will be racing in Charlotte with 19 today as well. I think that race is going to be with 8 times time acceleration, so you don't want to miss that. And also on Saturday afternoon at 12 GMT, Sim Racers Asia will race, I think in Spa as well, but I might be wrong. And tomorrow, of course, at 19:15 GMT, BSRTC comes back to Apex Racing TV, and that will be live from Circuit of the Americas. And I think, Sam, that was all that is waiting for us in the next days. And I think it's a very very big menu and very interesting menu that we have. And yeah, I cannot wait for these races to come in the next few days.
Yes, absolutely. Certainly that UV8 meeting, looking forward to that a whole lot. We haven't visited Charlotte Motorsport Park on Apex Racing TV since that Week 13 event, I believe we did, and that was good fun. Only a couple of cars finished the race, but it was still very good fun. And that was at night as well. And you couldn't see a whole lot, so certainly looking forward to that one. Thanks for everyone who's tuned in. It's always good to get 30 plus people watching for the entire stream, so certainly do appreciate it. But of course, if you could please leave a like on the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and also follow our Twitch channel as well. But for now, from me and from Marco as well, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next time.